Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Terminus, and today we are reacting to episode 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, let's jump into it. What happened last time? That is a very good question. Let's talk about it. So we met the president. Oh wait. Never mind. I had the wrong file up. Right, now let's get on screen. Right, let's get it on. And yeah, last time Fushiguro wanted to, or saw it as his duty to exterminate us, but 𝐏𝐢𝐏𝐿 turned up and quickly turned things around, but not before taking a few shots, being like, right, I'll keep that for posterity. And yeah, might draw some doubt on him being blind, but you know what, I think he's not angling it right at Fushiguro, so there's still the possibility. Either way, he got the drip, he got the invasion of personal space, and he's figuring out how good Sukuna is in fighting. Bro is a little bit of a hothead, but 𝐏𝐢𝐏 is being just dandy, and Yuji can control if he is in control of his body or not. Still wondering about that Vulcan tap out that 𝐏𝐢𝐏 did here, but well, I'm sure we're gonna get to know what that's all about down the line. And here we have Fushiguro actually pleading for Yuji's life, which is gonna be spared later on, as 𝐏𝐢𝐏 explains there are reasons why he wants him to stay alive for now, but they're gonna execute him eventually. So there's the death sentence, but it's still on, right? He gets spared, but it's a delay of execution, not a stay of execution. And we have that duality now, right? Sukuna being inside of him whenever the marks come out, and we do wonder if the more he gets, the more problematic it's gonna get. We'll have to see if Itadori can withstand that. But yeah, he takes the deal, right? Still, we do have a really cool intro. We looked at this a couple of times, but we still don't have all of the characters. I do wonder who that is. That's maybe Itadori's mom, or if it's somebody he's involved with romantically. We do have the 4 arms, which might be the arms of Sukuna. We don't know, or maybe it's another curse thingy. And we have that other character that we don't know yet, so he's probably gonna join us. Very interesting that they're sitting underneath the tree, but the girl is not to be found here. I thought she might be part of the team, but we'll see. Knee deep in water, we said that last time. We're gonna make amends, we're gonna talk it out, right? Get closure. I wonder if they, as I said, turn up again. We do say goodbye to Ji-Jun, and 𝐏𝐢𝐏 gives him his time, right? He says, all right, you do you. And he'll, after he said goodbye to his grandpa, he swallows a second finger and apparently agrees. 𝐏𝐢𝐏's like, I like people like you. What does he say that to, like in response to what? I can't just do nothing. The laughter is gonna be a pain in my ass, obviously. I don't care what happens from there. I've already decided how I'm going to die. So how is he going to die? What did he decide? Did he decide that, yeah, they're gonna kill me after that? But he said, I don't care what happens after that. He's like, all right, I'm gonna do my own thing. To say it in the words of Miles Morales. But yeah, very interesting. And yeah, we'll settle in, right? Talk to the president. We get a little bit of a lore backdrop about like how the old Jujutsu people weren't able to defeat, or well, maybe defeat, but weren't able to completely destroy Sukuna, and we get our encouragement for the motivation. We have that parallel to Chainsaw Man, with like people need to be a little bit crazy and really motivated to actually thrive in this job. But yeah, I really do like this shot here. It's very distorted, right? It's distorting the dimensions, and you do have that dark color palette that's kind of going into the almost, you have almost neon stripes here and there. You have the blood in the middle and the black line art, kind of line art, and you have this like fever dreamish vision of like, I guess in this case chaos or misfortune or whatever, and him as Kuna sitting on top of a lot of bodies. But yeah, we'll head out. We're gonna go on a mission. I don't even know. Yeah, we're gonna pick up the first year, which is gonna be her, who's from the countryside. Yeah, and is kind of really hyped about being baby scouterly. You know, daydreams and whatnot. But yeah, let's get right into it, right? I don't know if I'll have time for 3 and 4 today, so I might actually just record 3. Do 4 another time. That's fine, really. I have to be a little bit more flexible with those episodes. But if not, maybe if there's not too much to talk about, we might be able to do 3 and 4 today. We'll see. Other than that, let's just get into the reaction, guys. There is, guys and girls, by the way, there is 2 versions of this reaction. There is the edited reaction here on YouTube. If copyright doesn't screw me, if it screws me, maybe there's the timer reaction. We'll see, right? We'll see. But if not, there's the edited reaction here on YouTube, and there is the picture-in-picture in the description down below. So if we want to see the full reaction, like all of my reactions, go down there. I do have a Discord, the link is in the description. I do have a Patreon, the link is in the description. More on that at the end of the video. There's early access and stuff like that. Yeah, other than that, let's just get into it. Right, Jujutsu Kaisen episode 3 starts in a 3, a 2, a 1. Bang. Right, the third one. Oh, that is a very nice looking building. Like, mix of traditional and modern. And we do have like the Mappa signature mix of hand-drawn and CG. And Chan, so somebody she was very close with. Yeah, that's cool. Have remain that individuality. Dude is fashionable. He knows what fits. Who's that? Just pretty forward. Ouch. This is intimidating, I guess. Dude, what the fuck did you wear? What are you wearing? Also, that's what I'm asking. What is up with that blindfold? Nobara. What an attitude. Alright, and right into the intro. Cool. Yeah, the name. Nobara. Actually, I do need to get a version with lyrics, so I know what they're singing about. Or maybe I'm gonna look at the... Maybe I look at the intro with lyrics on YouTube or something. This guy, He seems like a schemer. And I wonder who green-haired lady is. She seems like more of like maybe a second year or third year. I just saw our schemer actually has a weapon. Okay. I'm still really puzzled about the panda. Oh. Did I actually not see her, or did she just get added? That would be cool. And we do see him sitting inside of that, like, mouth that we saw the forearms on earlier, so it's probably Skuna. And she's staring at. Alright, the new people. Sendai. Megumi. Alright, so she's judgmental. So technically... and Fushikoto is totally out of his depth. Oh, what an energy. Of course it's an extermination mission. Hook, line, and sinker. Okay. He's a special case. Alright, so the two newbies are going in first. Alright, I mean that's a good point. Okay, so he's giving him a sword. Okay. Alright, so what are we doing? He's running through the complex like somebody playing agent or something. Alright. Kenji fend for herself. Kenji work with others, right? She wants to get rid of him. And she'll think he's underestimating her. Or maybe not. My boy, don't admit it. Ooh. Nice transition. Alright, here we go. You don't say. How do you call it? Noroi? And quick and precise cuts. He knows how to fight, but we saw that already. Alright, so you need that little bit of craziness, I guess. Well, it's not craziness, but... A hammer with a heart design, okay. And we're in a highly populated area, right? So she might be underestimating them. Ooh, that is cool. Throwing it out. That's a cool thing, like a cool concept. No, so she's only used to curses in her area, of course. And that brings us to the conundrum of today's episode. Kugisaki. And that is her last name. So there's exclusion going on, discrimination. Oh. Okay, so she can do some magics. But it's not over, right? This wasn't the only one, or maybe it's still alive somehow. Ooh, deceitful, maybe? A trap? Oh, that is one ugly motherfucker. And he's using the child as a shield. It's clever. They need to be cunning to survive. Moral dilemma. That's the frustrating thing about it, right? And she has some knowledge, interesting. Survive until you get stronger, right? Yes, think about this logically. Yeah, but what is your conscience saying? So what do you do? Have a trick up your sleeve? Don't think like that, it's not over yet. Well, he is not normal. And he doesn't hesitate, right? That's his thing. She knows how to do it. And she's gonna nail it. Alright. And she needs a body part for that. I do wonder if she trusts him a bit more now, like, if she trusts Yuji a bit more. Maybe we see some backstory now. Alright. Older sister. Vibe. Right, not actual older sister, of course. Or maybe teacher? Alright, and so her obsession with beauty, maybe, right? With somebody very close to you. Too pretty, too standoutish. City folk, right? Us versus them mentality. That is rough. He's right. That's obviously not the full reason. Yeah. I mean, she's putting up a front, but it makes sense, right? She doesn't know him yet. Said with confidence here. Yeah. The atmosphere oppressed her, right? The things that happened, they weigh heavy on the environment we're in. Wonder what drove Saori to Tokyo. From Tokyo, and where she is now. Or if it has something to do with the curse. Like, whatever happened.
あんたにも感謝してる。私が死んでも、私だけが生き残っても、明るい未来はなかったわ。ありがとう。
Alright, so she thanked him. That's a great thing. Yeah, he's a little bit childish, but that's fine.
私、お腹減ると機嫌悪いの知ってた。
不機嫌じゃない時あんのか。子供は送り届けたよ。今度こそ飯行こうか。ビフタキューシーめぐみは
For two people who were fighting just a second earlier, they're suddenly on one wavelength, huh?
あんた、私の荷物取ってきてよ。
は？なんで俺が？貸し借りなしっつったろ。
獲物食い、バカ力。
だけじゃねえよ。なあ、伏黒。
Yeah, Shiguro news.
別に出番がなくて拗ねてんの。
He wanted to have fun too, maybe show off a little bit.
記録2018年7月
Alright. Ooh. Detention centers. Obviously a lot of negative emotion going on there. Curse wound. Oh. Alright, that is horrid.
緊急時
And we're writing a report.
死亡
Wait, what? Oh, what a cliffhanger. What a cliffhanger to end it on. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit different than what we expect. I doubt our boy's going to die. And Nobara has just been introduced, so either she's going to die immediately or she's going to stay. But I can't imagine like Fushiguro actually dying either. Weird. Maybe they assume one of them dies and then they actually don't. Like I can imagine that for Yuji, for Itadori. Get it, Gojo. Ah, right, so we have little comedy skits at the end.
銀座のいつものとこで行っか。俺回転寿司がいい。
イタドリお前ほんと、伏黒も何か言えや。
俺もさすがにどうせならうまい方が五条先生の金だし。カップ焼きそばと焼きそばが別物のように回転寿司も別物なんだよ。
私は寿司が食いてんだよ。
寿司は食事だけ、回転寿司はレジャーなんだよ。遊園地なの TDL なの。ていうか釘崎ど田舎出身って言ってたけど、回転寿司行ったことあんの？僕のフェイバリットは寿司号だが、初めてなら立派寿司だろうね。先生分かってんじゃん。
おいまだ行くとは。
釘崎よく聞け。立派寿司はな、寿司が新幹線に乗ってくるんだ。運転した。この子回転寿司初めてなんだ。駐車場がバカでかい立派寿司まで。
I love the little thing down, but please ride the car properly. Alright, Curse Womb must die. Interesting. Weird. But interesting. Alright. I'll see you guys all on YouTube. I hope you'll come back for the discussion. Or if you're already here, I'll see you in a second. Boom. Alright, let's just talk about it, shall we? Jump right into the episode. We do recap a little bit, and I do really like the music and the beat when we're recapping. It's a really cool thing. And we're kind of getting everything up to speed. We do get to know Nobara, I think is her name. And wait, let me just... Saori-chan is the one that she was friends with, right? The older girl or woman that she hung around with in the countryside, that told her all these things about the big city, right? And when you I don't know about you, but when you grow up in the countryside or in more rural areas, it really does seem like the city is a whole different world, right? There's so many people. In the beginning, when you're young, you can't even imagine that. And obviously, if you live in an industrial country, at some point in time, your parents going to take you with them to the city, and you're going to see all of that. But it's still a whole new world, right? Giant shopping malls and a lot of streets just for people to walk and shop, and shops everywhere and restaurants and whatnot. It's overwhelming, and I think the series does a great job of displaying this multicolored world here, spreading itself in front of Nobara. But we talk about it a little bit. We say, yeah, I mean, she's been picked a little bit prior to that, so she probably had some inherent talent to detect curses from the get-go, because that is what Mugomo Fushiguro says to us in the beginning, or to Ryuji in this case. It says, the reason why there's not a lot of us first years is there's not a lot of people who see the curses or are in special circumstances like you are, Itadori, that they were, right, they have the talent and maybe the know-how to deal with these things, and Nobara seems to be within that space. She seems to be at least either have that talent, have had that talent earlier on, and was picked just based on that, or maybe she had some relative or some school nearby, maybe that second school they were talking about, that taught her the techniques, right? Either way, she could see the curses, and that is a special phenomenon. We do have that little funny scene with the somewhat unserious, I don't know how you say it, the somewhat sus recruiter here trying to get somebody for a modeling job, and she stops him and is like, what about me? And we do see later why she is so focused on that modeling job, right? In terms of like, maybe somebody's gonna scout me, because that is kind of has a connection to Saori-chan, who told her all these things about the city, but also because Saori was a very pretty person, right? So maybe they've talked about things like that you can recruit it off the street and can get recruited off the street, and that is kind of what she might want to do in place of Sayori. But even beyond that, this is like the silly little fantasies that we have in our lives, right? We do have these fantasies of well, maybe if I go there or there, I'm gonna get discovered, right, as an actor, or somebody hears me sing and somebody approaches me and is like, okay, can make a singer out of you, or right, if I maybe if I take lessons with an instrument, I actually have a talent for it, and there's a whole new thing that gets discovered, and I can, right? I mean, I still don't know if she's doing that as a joke, but we're not having anybody else in the scene, so I do think on the one hand it might be her connection to Saori-chan, but on the other hand it might also just be her childhood dream, right? Everybody has a childhood dream: astronaut, actor, right, race car driver, stuff like that. That is oftentimes actual jobs, right, but larger than life and very rare to happen to you unless you invest a lot of time from the get-go. Now obviously there's a lot of luck in it as well. You need to be not only showing an interest with little chance to gain anything out of it in the long term, but also then be in the right places at the right time and actually show that performance whenever you can, and then to actually get the chance to even get close to that. But it's immediately kind of humanizing and characterizing her for me, because it is something that is not out of the norm, because a lot of us have these, but it's very unique to every person, right? Every person has their own dream and their own aspirations and their own little daydreams that they're having. But she approaches him and he's like, no, I have something else to do. And I think that reaction is not necessarily because she wouldn't be pretty, because in my opinion she looks rather pretty, although I have to say, like, in animated media, in abstract media, it's often the case that people who would maybe just be average in terms of their looks are displayed a lot prettier or more interesting, because that's just how we animate things, right? Little flaws and imperfections aren't shown. It's an abstraction of reality. There a lot of detail is missing here. So we can't properly say. One thing we can say is that she's very intimidating, and that might be the case why he's like taken aback, right? Because she doesn't look like typical model, like slender and all that. She has a little bit of broad shoulders. She's got some muscle, you feel that, and she's got an attitude, right? And that is immediately, in my opinion, probably off-putting to him as a person, because not only is, like, assuming he's somebody who is actually serious and not a scam artist or whatever, we can go into the other potential that he's not being an actual recruiter, and he's kind of like doing some shady business. And in this case, it's even more off-putting, because for him it's like, there's this intimidating person. I can't push them around really easily. They have that attitude and the statue and the look of somebody who's not going to get pressured into something they don't want to do, which is something a shady person would do, right? So yeah, very interesting. And she's stopping him as he is trying to run away. I'm sorry, please let me go. Yeah, and we meet the crew, and Yuji immediately with the tacky over terrible glasses. Well, it's funny glasses, but still, right? Rook and then the two popcorn on the one hand and like a dessert in the other hand. That is somebody who is not used to this environment and just thought he'd get one of everything, right? Like a tourist or something. But yeah, she's got an attitude. Be happy, boys. I'm the only woman in your vicinity, in your class. But we'll introduce ourselves, and I'll get to that. She's asking about the blindfold. Me too. And you do see I love these little character animations, because you immediately see that there's a lot of love going into trying to make the characters seem very unique and have their own like personality. Because the way she's like just making herself go straight and putting her back out, it's immediately showing a certain kind of attitude, a certain kind of aura to somebody, right? She's strong, she's tough, she knows how to defend herself, she doesn't take shit, right? That's the impression you get, and she thinks very highly of herself, that too. But yeah, Kugisaki. I didn't quite read that. I was pretty fast because I have it on fast. Kugisaki Nobara. I'm saying Nobara. Kugisaki Nobara. Nobara is probably her first name, but you know, I'm Western. I'm using first names. Kugisaki-san. I'm sure nobody says that, but yeah. And we go into the intro. We're not even introducing the other ones, but we'll use that as a clever way to just cliffhang us until the end of the thing. And she's immediately judgmental. Very funny. She's like, who is this fucking guy? Yuji, yes, I got him. He's from Sendai, which, again, I don't have the areas of Japan or the surrounding areas of Tokyo and prefectures and whatever in my mind. I don't immediately know he's from the countryside, but from what Goto is saying and whatnot, he is. Albeit, in my opinion, probably from what I've seen, not the countryside, not like Nobara, which seems like very much village kind of atmosphere, and he seems like maybe like how do you call that? Like adjacent towns to a big city. Yeah, and we have Megumi, actually. Yeah, okay, I said his name wrong. Megumi. Gotta try to keep that in mind. Megumi. I guess I'd just say Megumin from Konosuba, even if it's absolutely not a fit, but Fushiguro Megumi. It's like he's a potato, and the other one just said his name and nothing else. And just immediately, oh damn, I'm down on my luck. Such a fucking annoying. But she's got this atmosphere all the time, but she seems very quick to change her tune, right? To be like, go from, oh, I'm annoyed and or frustrated and just brushing people off to I'm happy and excited and hyper. So that's just one of her modes. Putting them down, right? We have like, we're going to Tokyo and both of them are like, yeah, Tokyo. They're excited, and Megumi here is just like, holy shit, just fucking kill me, okay? These two goobers, leave me the fuck alone with them. Yeah, and then yeah, it's hook, line, and sinker, like I said. Like, well, I told you we're going there. I didn't tell you for what. And yeah, it's obviously it's a test. It's a way to kind of gauge the skills of the people over here. And we're kind of just catching up a little bit. Who is who did what, and whatever. But he's sending the two newbies in here. Obviously, it's very important to get to know how they're working together, if they're working together, if they can actually, yeah, I mean, overcome their fears. In Yuji's case, he's not the main person being tested. It's more like Gojo knows he's gonna a little bit crazy, or not crazy like guys. Like, I want to say, this is not crazy. This is just he's very somewhat reckless. He's very impulsive, and he isn't afraid, right? Maybe he should be afraid sometimes. Maybe but maybe that kind of character personality trait in combination with his probably unique genetics make for what actually is able to suppress Kuna. And yeah, but he's not allowed to use Kuna, so he gets like an object. And I do like how she's just strutting through it normally, and he's just like going from door to door, being like really sneaky, like kids playing cops or secret agents, and then going through the house and being like, okay, this room is secure, right? It's very funny, and it shows how green he is, but also how he seems to take it very seriously. It's not a game for him, right? He's just that green about it. But she's brushing him off. She's obviously not only his behavior, but also the first impression he made. And she's like, I can take care of this myself. You go somewhere else. And we're splitting up because she likes to work alone, or at least maybe she's not that good at getting familiar with strangers, right? And building a relationship and whatnot. But you do see she's immediately abusive, which great response. I mean, it's the trope, right? You have like some, not tsundere, but in the sense of like somebody who is very physical in the way they express themselves. You can expect that they might punch you sometimes, not really hard and the way it hurts, but just fucking, right, the way you can take it, and you'll just have to contend with that, or meet that in equal measure, just being just as high energy as her and trying to keep up with that. And obviously it's not a great habit to have, and I do feel like in real life it's not as extreme, right? In art we often abstract things, and we put things into a very, very much into an extreme in order to write the message home, right? So in reality she wouldn't be quite as aggressive, or in a non-supernatural normal story maybe she wouldn't be quite as aggressive. And especially in anime that's used a lot, right? That people fly through the window and it's just brushed off as being a little bit curt and a little bit just somewhat violent, right? But still likable. And I do like her heel turn, and just like and then the skirt flowing a little bit, and then just going off in like a little bit mad. It's very funny and very interesting how she displays herself in front of somewhat strangers and people she probably has to spend a lot of time with, right? So she has some kind of like loner behavior or tomboyish behavior in this sense. And Yuji is very quick on the uptake. He feels the curse coming and reacts very quickly. He is also very strategic when it comes to that, right? Doing quick cuts here or there. He's not going on full confrontational course. She's very agile, and I do wonder if this is the style of the style of fighting we will see from him going forward, right? We do see he's been very athletic, superhuman almost from the get-go, even without the curse. So yeah, Very, very cool. And we do test if Nobara is actually crazy, if she's, well, not crazy, but if she's actually able to handle that thing, either alone or together with people, because that's both part of the job, right? You need to be able to handle a situation yourself, but also if you have partners, you need to be able to communicate with them and rely on them. And I do really like this power she has, where she's just taking the hammer, putting right and hitting the nails, and the nails fly in a very straight line with curse energy, obviously, into the subject, and then drill themselves even deeper. And we do see here that she expects that the thing is over, right? She's already patting herself on the back, being like, I'm great, but she doesn't realize that there's a child, and she doesn't seem to be able to be all that great with children, which is fine, right? Sometimes it's really hard to find this connection to children, because it's very hard to imagine on what level of thinking any particular child is, depending on the age and whatnot. It's very hard to pinpoint, right? Because you talk with adults, you can read with them on an eye level. Even if they're less intelligent than you or more intelligent than you, you can talk from a position of common sense and common knowledge in terms of like what the average person knows and thinks about things. But for children, there's a lot developing, right? Some children might not be at that stage yet where you can explain to them certain things, and others might be way brighter and more intelligent than you think they are at the point in time they are. And you could have actually talked to them in another manner, and maybe it would have made a better impression. It's also very interesting that children are often they can often feel very easily if you are confident and secure in yourself, right? Or if you mean what you're saying, right? There's some kind of like underlying sense there. Now, obviously, this is no hard knowledge, okay? It's not like they did a study and whatever. I'm sure they did a lot of studies on that in developmental psychology, but I'm not referencing anything. This is just a general experience I have when it comes to me, myself, and other people dealing with children. It's not always easy. You can't always read into it, and sometimes you don't find that particular energy that a certain child responds to well. Which is no problem, but she was about to get Yuji, but we do have this sneaky little other curse being here, and he's threatening the child. And we learn a couple of things here about her. First of all, she's not as experienced in dealing with intelligent adversaries, intelligent monsters, intelligent curses. Because in the countryside, maybe this is a little bit different, less density of people, and maybe in this case it's kind of connected to intelligence and wit, right? The more people, the more negative emotions, the denser the person, the curse that the monster is, and the denser the general energy, which means they're not stronger, but also, right, more intelligent. And also the more people there are, the harder it is probably to not be detected and survive. And as a result of that, you also have to be clever, right, to avoid being destroyed. And we also learn that she cares about people more than she cares about her life. Because, I mean, even if it's not particularly smart, in the sense of just dropping all of your weapons, I'm sure she has some backup in the sense of that she can fight for herself even without any weapons. But she was kind of resolute in dying here, which says a lot, right? Like I said, she values other people's lives more than her own. And she said, I wish I could have seen 𝐸-chan one last time. That tells me that 𝐸-chan is still alive, which is cool. So she doesn't know where she went, but maybe she went back to the city, back to Tokyo. And that was maybe one of the reasons why she wanted to go to Tokyo, and was so happy that she got the offer. I don't know if the tech school actually came to her, or if she came to them, or if something happened, but yeah. And she kind of blames herself. She says, I'm such an idiot. But yeah, she drops the weapons. And then we have Madman Itadori punching through a concrete wall. He's like, it's not solid concrete. And she's like, that's not normal, dude. That's not normal. But for him it is, right? And that's the weird thing. Why? What the fuck is he? Breaking national records just like that. Being strong enough to punch through a wall just like that. Yeah, and they manage to rescue him, and she does some kind of like voodoo exorcism where she takes a part of the monster or the curse's body and puts the straw doll through it and puts the curse energy through it, which is very interesting. And I do wonder where she learned it, but it's very interesting also because we have rules for that technique now. We know she needs a body part, probably. She needs her straw doll. And it probably needs to be in proximity because she was pretty much in a hurry. She wasn't like, I can do it whenever, right? It's all good. But she was pretty much in a hurry. Obviously, she could have been in a hurry because she didn't want anybody to die, or because she didn't want Gojo and Fushiguro to interfere. That could be also the case, but I'm making the assumption that it's probably also kind of with something to do with proximity. And maybe she even needs to know what kind of monster it is, right? Otherwise it might be a little bit too powerful. But yeah, we do get to know the story about Sarai-chan, who was very pretty and came from the city and told her all of these cool things. But we do have a lot of, right, discrimination, or maybe not open discrimination in the beginning, but more like people keeping a person from the outside at arm's length because they think they're not right, they're not part of the group, and they don't accept their lifestyle or the way she maybe is also was bragging about the city, and they're like, well, she probably thinks we're just stupid idiots and whatnot. And there's this hostility coming in, and even if it's just passive hostility and people being isolated in countryside is a really hard thing, right? Because you don't have as many connections. You can't just quickly change the neighborhood or look for people at the other part of the city where maybe nobody even knows you, but there's not that many people. So if you're isolated in a place like this where there's fewer people, it's very hard to get any meaningful relationships going. And these negative emotions, I do wonder if there's something with a curse that happened with the negative emotions, because right, the riding on the van and then the vandalization, that seems to me very, very heavy, right? But yeah, she had a dog, she had some positive outlook, but she moved away because she got driven out, more or less, which is very sad, right? Social isolation just based on prejudice and based on maybe the wrong first impressions and assumptions you do make based on previous experiences you made. And these people, that's not them at all, and they're actually pretty nice people, but you judge them very harshly, which is very interesting because Nobara here is actually also somebody who seemingly judges people very harshly quickly, but you know how it is sometimes, right? If you fuel a fire, right, it's gonna spread, or if you put something out in the world, it's gonna come back the same to you. This is this idea of karma and whatnot, but also the idea of if you say something to someone or treat someone a certain way, it's a very common strategy, especially if that's a negative way, to kind of just reflect it with the same kind of behavior. Be in a way, have that exterior shell where you brush people off and you throw insults or hostility back into people's faces as a means to avoiding that hostility coming to you in the first place, right? You're the dog that barks louder in if you want to call it like, if you want to put it like that. But yeah, we do have that little back and forth, and I do like because they're actually establishing a rapport. She's like, I thank you for helping me there. You helped me out, and that's all. I'm not gonna do any more. But we do have that resolute saying of her, like, be like, she's like, okay, I wanted to move to the city without worrying about money, and he's like, you can risk your life for something like that, and she's like, I can, right? And that, I think that made an impression on him. We see that in his face. She's like, after all, what does she say? After all, it's something I decided myself or something. It means being true to myself, right? She is herself, unapologetically, which I guess is a great thing. I do wonder if all aspects of her personality are like that, because we've seen moments in which she was, right, brushing people off, being aggressive, whatnot. If that's her actual person, right? If this is her being true to herself, or if that's not maybe her putting up a shield, which is not being true to yourself, right? And not realizing that it's not being true to yourself. But yeah, we have the motivation, we have the reason why she's so excited about the city and bakeries and whatnot. Yeah. And we have her childish side, which honestly makes her kind of adorable in this sense, right? It's endearing. And suddenly they're on the same page when it comes to food. Good to know that food can bring people together, who knew? But yeah. Common interests, right? Even if it's just eating lavishly and just being into that and being like, alright. And they almost leave Fushiguro because he's on his phone and being like, alright, I'm gonna just let them do whatever. And they're asking him a question. He's like, leave me the fuck alone. I wanted to go in there, I want to show off. But all y'all have to do this shit, and right now I had nothing to do. I was just sitting around scrolling through my Instagram. The type he is probably, it doesn't have an Instagram. But yeah, we do have a log, right? A case report, and we say like the fetus or whatever, cursed fetus is above this penitentiary, obviously, right? A lot of negative emotions, that makes sense. And 3 first years were sent, but 1 died, and we do have the cliffhanger. Who died, right? I don't know. I doubt any one of them would die, but damn, sheesh. We might have a first year, and one of the first years is not going, maybe, and then one of them dies, right? That's a possibility, that Fushiguro isn't going for some reason or another, or maybe Yuji isn't going for some reason or another. Though I doubt that's the case, because we're still following him more or less as the main character, even though our 3 characters are kind of like parallel main characters. But they're more like secondary, right? Not support characters, but secondary characters, and he is. The only thing yeah, I mean, this was a funny little sequence. It's nice to kind of just teach people a little bit something about things, right? That are maybe not necessarily a thing in other cultures, or even not within the same culture are the thing. Like there's things that are in the city or in the countryside that are not there at the other areas. So cool little tidbits, I think, and yeah. But the only thing I was left to do now is actually looking up Jujutsu Kaisen here on the thing. I'm not interested in all of that shit. I'm only interested in these. We have Fushiguro, who is Yuma Uchida. I heard that name before. He is... Right, so I haven't found anything on Yuma Uchida in terms of like characters that I prominently know. So Fushiguro is somebody somewhat new to me in terms of the voice acting. Let's look at Yuji. He started 2010. Oh, holy shit! He's been even Takaishi from the original Digimon Adventures. I think the 2nd season. All right, maybe they had another actor in the 1st season. Very interesting. But obviously, I don't remember something like that. That's been like childhood days. Really? All right, Popuko. And Komi's brother and Komi-san. All right, interesting. But not any very, very prominent roles yet. Oh yeah, we do have Rengoku in Kimetsu no Yaiba. That is something I'm more familiar with, I guess. Even though it's been a while since I've seen Kimetsu. Right, going on to Gojo, Yuji Nakamura. By the way, I didn't talk about the voice actor's name for Yuji, who is Yunya Inoki. Okay. Yuji Nakamura name says a lot to me. Like I've heard the name before. He plays. No way. But that's in the thing, right? That's in the. Oh, he played Adam in the Ruby anime, like the Shaft anime. Interesting. He also played Makoto Takia in Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Okay. And Tsukasa in Dr. Stone. Okay. Now I'm seeing some roles that maybe I'll be able to hear because yeah, that's. Yeah. Okay. Now that I think about it. Very interesting. He plays Reinhardt in ReZero's second season. Do we have... How many Reinhardt lines do we have in second season of ReZero? Well, either way, he's probably playing him in the first season as well. So, yeah. No, not Moomin Rider, right? Yes, he's actually playing Moomin Rider in One Punch Man. Okay, cool. I can definitely see that. Although Gojo is a lot more like the experienced mentor type, but yeah, and definitely see the general tone of voice and whatnot. And he plays Gray in Fairy Tail. All right, interesting. Something from my like very much the past, but I've seen it. And Hotaro in Hyoka. Cool. All right. So a couple of familiar faces in here. Gilgamesh as well, but not in the mainline series, right? Is he Gil? I didn't hear that, but yeah, I mean Gojo Gil, that can kind of make sense from what I've heard so far. Gil is a lot more cold in this, but yeah, I mean there's also Gleeful in there, so okay, cool. We got Nobara, Asami Seto. Let me see. Who did you play? Somebody I know. Raftalia. I've only seen the first season of Shield Hero, so Mai from Bunny Girl Senpai. Okay, cool. Very prominent role. I didn't hear that, but character traits, yeah, checks out. Maybe not a typecast because Raftalia is just like the exact opposite from what I've remembered, but a lot of voice actors who have an amazing voice range in general, so there's really no clear distinction all the time, especially if you play an animated character. You can always kind of just make use and extend your voice range if you are capable of doing that. It's also always very cool to see when voice actors can branch past their usual MO characters, right? That's always something very impressive to see. But some of those are pretty experienced. We have Hori from Horimiya. Cool, nice. I didn't see that. Yeah, cool. Really nice. We do have, I don't know you. Let me see what Skuna is cooked up. Junichi Suwabe. Okay, Junichi Suwabe tells me something. We do have Tencho in Spy Family. Okay, I haven't seen the anime, so I couldn't do that. Lugner in Frieren. Okay, so really cool since we do have the direct connection now, and the character checks out. So I'm gonna definitely be listening to that one to see if there's any crossover I can hear. We do have Archer and Fate, but maybe not in all of them. I'll have to see that because you know how it is with Fate characters and their stuff. Oh yes, I can see that. Aizawa, I can see Aizawa. Definitely, from My Hero. Oh, and we have Tetsuo from Demi-chan wa Kataritai, which, yeah, okay, I've seen that one too. Was actually pretty popular seasonal, and we have one character I don't quite recognize him from Aono Exorcist. That's a very old, well, in my opinion, I don't know how old it really is, but it's a very old anime in my mind. But I have seen, I think, at least the first season. I don't know about the second one. JoJo's haven't seen that. Freed from Fairy Tail, again, an old name. And Karasuma from whatchamacallit, Assassination Classroom. Okay. That is. Oh, okay. Okay, we actually have Greed from. But from which one? It looks like Brotherhood, right? Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? Might be FMA normal though, right? Right, it might, yeah, it's FMA normal, like it's the original Full Alchemist, not Brotherhood. Cool. Never seen the original Full Metal Alchemist, so I don't know. People seem to prefer Brotherhood, so we look at the staff. We have obviously our original creator, 𝐏𝐢𝐏𝐿 Akutami. I don't know the name and I might have butchered it. I'm sorry, Akutami-san. And then we have Seung-Woo Park, sounds like a Korean name, and Yui Umemoto as director and assistant director. Yeah, he comes from South Korea. Okay, cool. And he directed God of High School, Devilman Crybaby, key animations in episode 10. Okay, so it's not all of them, obviously, but he took part in that. Kakegurui, Yuri on Ice, a lot of prominent works I do see here. Nothing that tells me like insane animation so far. Well, maybe God of High School, but you know, I remember it being really hype in the beginning, but then kind of. I don't know. I mean, I stopped watching it because I had other things, other things on my mind. But I know people weren't all that excited about it after a few episodes. Don't know why exactly. It was the same kind of, the same season when Tower of God came out, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is gonna be so hype," and it was really cool, but also kind of a meh thing because of some of the directing choices. I feel, but not so. Banana Fish, I haven't seen Banana Fish, but I heard a lot of good things about it. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, multiple episodes and some key animations. Yeah, cool. That is kind of a repertoire here. And we have Yui Umemoto, who is gonna be, who is doing assistant director on this season. He didn't do that much. The Gray Man, okay. Haven't seen it, know it though. But not a lot of prominence. Banana Fish as well, right? And then the Jujutsu Kaisen follow-up, but not that much. Right. I mean, can't find them all, right? But yeah, that's an interesting lineup. Some somewhat experienced people, some less experienced people, and we do definitely have voice actors that go back all the way to 2013, 2010. Also some that may be a little bit newer with their careers. I mean, 2012 is still a lot, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will recognize some of these voice actors just fine. But yeah, I'm gonna be excited to see and hear them and kind of try to connect the dots on the characters they've been playing. But that's it for Jujutsu Kaisen episode 3, and with this I'm gonna bring the episode to a close. Guys, I do hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do like my content, I would really appreciate a like. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. I do also have a Patreon. As I said, there's early access on Made in Abyss at the moment. It's 1 week early, and Frieren is gonna come out probably most of the time 2 or 3 days after it's released. Where I'm gonna put up the timer reaction on Patreon for the $1 tier, like the lowest tier that's possible. And after 2 or 3 days, there's gonna be the edited version. It's gonna come out for the early access tier, and then another couple of days later, like in the middle of the week after, there's gonna be the public release of all of that, right? It's more just like a treat for people to kind of put a little bit more value extra into it, be like, thank you for kind of supporting me. So if you want to support me, if you're interested in that and more series to come down the line, JJK is also gonna be on this early access tier, which means that probably, I'm not sure, but you can look it up, right? If you check out the Patreon. When I do release this version, like this episode of Jujutsu Kaisen publicly, there's probably gonna be episode 4 on the Patreon right now. So that's gonna be the deal. generally, if I can manage it. This actually, JJK has more of an irregular schedule because this is my series that I put in there because I want to do more for you guys, but also I don't have infinite time. I have a lot to do, a lot on my mind, especially January, February, so there might be some weeks in between, right? It might be every 2-3 weeks or whatever. So you'll see it coming. I'm gonna just probably post a YouTube post on it, be like, okay, it's on Patreon now, or whatever, or you see the next episode pop up and then you can check out the Patreon and be like, okay, is the next episode already on or is it not? But yeah, I would also really appreciate if you joined the Discord. The Discord is doesn't have a lot of members yet, but we are really enjoying ourselves talking about theories. Obviously spoiler free as possible. Just tag everything that's after where I am in the show right now, but everything that I've already seen we can talk about and kind of just theorize and throw things out or talk about what we liked about the episodes and whatnot. And it's more of like a direct thing, right? So you can just write and I'll write back whenever I get the time or whenever I'm bored and want to engage with people, right? So that's a cool choice. The link is in the description or on my main page in the About Me section right under the Patreon thing. So I hope I see you there, or I hope I'll see you down in the comment section talking about all kinds of amazing, stupid, or interesting things, right? Like I said, link the animation, kind of like if you have some know-how on how animation works and the frames, how you composite that, how the directing works on that. And I'm sure there's a lot of cool YouTube videos about it or cool other resources to read, books to get. I'm always interested in that. I can't always get them, of course, because I have budgeting and whatnot. But whenever I feel like I want to treat myself to something, or whenever I feel like I have the time to do something, I'm gonna look into something that interests me, which is oftentimes, right, psychology, art, animation, writing. Just link it to me if you've got, or tell me what it is, write a book or a YouTube video, whatever. I'd really appreciate that. Until next time then.